Welcome to episode 4 of Omni Wellness Media's ChadYogi Podcast. This week we have a very, very special guest. She's my friend, she's now my colleague, and a animal activist, someone that does amazing work for many years and someone that I look up to, Toni Brockoven from Beauty Without Cruelty. Toni, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, it's strange.
Always good to be with you.
Thank you, Toni. It's so strange to talk to you like this, because normally when we see each other, it's like much more chilled vibes and like friendly vibes, and now we're like doing this podcast together, fancy, aren't we? Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, just for the audience, just to introduce BWC, because I just mentioned now to the world, I'm also a new member of the team. I'm very excited to be part of this team. Tell us a little bit about Beauty Without Cruelty in a nutshell.
Beauty Without Cruelty started in South Africa in 1975, an offshoot of the British branch, which was started some years earlier, 1958. And that means it's older than you are. That aside,
much older.
That aside, in the beginning our focus was on ivory, cosmetics, animal testing and fur. And as the years have gone by, we have grown and evolved to encompass animal exploitation in all its guises. So we still focus on cosmetic testing using animals because it's not necessary. But we also focus on things like the issue of fireworks, circus animals, cub petting, which leads to canned line hunting or easy line hunting, or animal exploitation, where very often the people are totally unaware of what they're doing is actually not okay with the animals involved. So it obviously now also encompasses veganism. While it was always a vegetarian organization and many of the members were vegan themselves, as of 2018, for example, our Humane Guide, which is a list of companies and products which have proven their no animal testing claims to very stringent criteria. In fact, as far as I know, the South African Beauty Without Cruelty criteria is the most stringent in the world. All products or all brands going forward from April 2018 have to be 100% plant-based. Because we used to accept vegetarian ingredients. So we have evolved as far as that goes.
A lot of people don't know what vegetarian is. A lot of people don't know, what veganism is.
Correct.
And also they don't know what animal activism is. Do you want to talk maybe just to break it down? What's the difference between vegetarianism and veganism?
Well, vegetarianism is a step forward, but it still exploits animals because we are taking eggs and dairy from animals who do not give it to us. We take it from them by force. And in fact, the egg and dairy industries are actually far more cruel and far more exploitative than the meat industry, which a lot of people are unaware of and are often horrified to realize. So there's that aspect. Veganism versus plant-based veganism is quite simply, we do not wear, use, eat animals for any reason whatsoever, as far as it is possible. And the reason I say as far as it is possible is that if you have bought a car, or for example somebody has bought you a car and it happens to have leather seats, that you cannot control. When you choose to buy a car, you can choose to say there's certain brands that will give you leather and non-leather interiors, or you choose a model that just doesn't have it to start with at all. But it also means not going to animal circuses. It means not going to sanctuaries, in inverted commas, where you are allowed to interact with the animals. Because as soon as you're interacting with the animals, it is no longer a sanctuary. A true sanctuary would be as close to the wild as possible. So the chances are good that you will see the animal you're there, or animals you're there to see, but you might not. And that's the luck of the draw, and that is as it should be. Plant-based is merely a diet. And I'm not knocking plant-based eaters at all. Every step forward is a step forward, and very often people who start with one section, for example, plant-based living, become more aware of other issues as well, in the same way that people who've started coming to circus protests, and they've been fully fledged steak eaters and, not interested, have over the years, I hesitate to say the word evolved, but they've been conscientized, yes, and they have become vegan in time because of that one action. And while we're talking about actions, I want to point out that there are a lot of vegan activists out there who are all about trashing single issues. So, for example, the circus. Their vision is that we must go vegan and then. But every little action adds up.
I agree with you.
And I would rather have 100 people who are doing something imperfectly. So, they're eating plant-based 3 days a week and they're no longer buying leather shoes and they're not supporting the circus, than one vegan who's doing everything correctly. And we can't do that anyway because of the world we live in.
So we have different organizations. One of the organizations that I do work with is, for example, Anonymous for the Voiceless. Now, Anonymous for the Voiceless, they make it very clear that they are animal abolitionists.
Yes.
Beauty without cruelty. Are we open to transition? Are we open to small steps in the right direction?
We are ultimately abolitionists, but we welcome anybody who's prepared to start making a change. Because, for example, we can speak to young people who are still living at home and may not have the option to be able to say, I'm no longer going to be eating or wearing or do not want that woolen carpet in my room anymore, etc. So we will take any small actions because they all add up. We want a vegan world, no question. But while we're waiting for that, we need to be aware of accepting incremental steps. And anybody who says, you know what, we have a sort of unrelated family, if that makes any sense, and their household now does meat-free Mondays. This was a household where it was 3 times a day, 7 days a week, 24/7. Yeah. And they have started making changes within their household. And that makes a difference. You have a lot of people doing that, it makes a difference. But ultimately what we're looking for is for me to be without a job. In other words, a vegan world.
Yes. What has veganism done for you as Toni? Because you are not just, for me, you're not just a member of BWC, Beauty Without Cruelty, a founding member or a person that has actually, taken this organization to the next level. You are also a stellar vegan yourself. And I love following you. You, in a sense, live the position. I can see it's beyond a job. It's a passion project. It's part of your life. So what has veganism done for you?
I'm going to go back one step. It's
Yes.
very kind of you. I'm not that old. I'm not a founding member.
Yes.
I just needed to put that out
You
there.
found me,
Okay, found
so
you,
to
okay.
me you like, and in all the pictures you there, and all the protests you there, so technically not founding, but in a
Yeah.
sense as someone who has really worked hard over the last decade or so or more, putting a lot of effort into it, and you also like, I call you like old school, in the
yes.
sense of veganism isn't that old.
No,
It's
correct.
old, but it's only become, in inverted commas,
Mainstream.
mainstream and popular recently. But you've been there since when? When did you become vegan?
19 years ago. this
19
year.
years ago. Amazing.
Yeah.
And what has it done for you?
It's opened up my eyes to how terrible the human species is as a whole. There are amazing people all over, but most of us blunder through life blindly and oblivious to the suffering that we cause by our everyday decisions. And so my passion is to alert people to how we behave, the choices that we make, the decisions that we take for ourselves and for our families and our friends has an impact on way more than just us. My choice is only my choice when there's no third party or second party. So if my choice includes eating an animal, that animal doesn't have a choice. It is no longer a personal choice. Personal choices is wearing a tutu to go shopping or dyeing your hair green. That's a personal choice. But things that have a direct impact on the planet, the environment, other animals and other humans is no longer personal. Because, for example, every time humans choose to eat an animal, they're literally taking food out of somebody else's mouth, because the grain that could have been going to feeding humans is being fed to animals.
I think statistically they say that it's 20 kilograms of grain to produce 1 kilogram of beef. And if 10% of people become vegan, that excess grain would be able to feed all
We would have no starvation.
people in the world.
Yeah.
So it's become, I mean, why do you think, and I know we're speaking to a lot of people who are vegan, so-called the converted, but I'm sure there's a lot of people at home also, not 100% sure as to what decision they need to make. Why do you think it's just become so cultural that people, in a sense, feel like it's okay?
No, I think very often there are a couple of issues. One, there's cognitive dissonance, which we know about, where your brain and your heart are in conflict, and so you just choose whatever's the easier path. But that's too easy an excuse, because I've literally had somebody say to me, "But I've got cognitive dissonance," and no, that doesn't excuse it, because you know that you've got it. So but there's also our peers, our families, our friends, and people don't want to be seen walking out of step, and we generally fear change. We have a handful of people who jump out of an airplane, but the majority won't, because that is change, that is different. The easiest decision you can make, and this is something that has been repeated ad nauseam, there isn't a vegan alive who has not said, "I wished I had done this sooner." They all do it. So it's a matter of just making a decision to say, from today, I'm no longer eating animals. The next time I buy shoes, I'm going to look for leather-free shoes. The next time I need decor, I'm going to make kinder choices. It is literally that easy. And it is as complicated or not as you make it. Because a lot of people are already eating vegan foods accidentally. And the reason we focus on food is because it's not like smoking. You can't give it up. We have to eat. Eating is also very social. It used to be that we ate to survive. Now we celebrate, we shoulder grief around meals. It is a function of everyday life. We have to do it.
I went to a few funerals recently. Sorry for cutting your word. I went to a few funerals recently, and then it was people who died, right? But then on the menu was meat, and I was like, what? I don't think people also, like, they call vegans. They say, "Oh my goodness, you guys are so extreme." But then I'm like, have you seen what happens in a factory farm?
Yes.
I mean, the footage is undeniable. I mean, the animal testing, do you know what goes in there? I mean,
Correct.
if you just open your eyes and see, I think that's more extreme, right?
Yeah.
So I suppose them thing as well is just like, we need to open our eyes.
But that also goes with conditioning. And very often people say, well, that's an extreme example and that doesn't happen here. It happens all over the world. Farming practices are pretty much standard throughout the world. Animals are castrated without euthanasia. That is a fact. They have their teeth clipped without euthanasia. They have their tails chopped. If they're lucky, it's clipped. If they're not, they have an elastic band tied around it, which would cut off the blood, which would cause all kinds of intense pain and suffering before that tail drops off. Well, they actually castrate using a rubber band. They call it something else in the industry, but it's basically a rubber band.
The artificial impregnation.
And let's call it what it is. It's rape.
It's rape.
And so these are not extremes. This is everyday life for animals on farms.
Sure.
And as I say, they do not give us anything. We take it forcibly, and we don't need to. There are 20,000 edible plants on the planet. You'll find succulents that you can eat. I mean, we can survive so well and so happily. And yes, you can still have your burgers and you can still have your ribs, and we spill them differently. And as for the age-old and rather tedious question of why do vegans want their food to look like animals, well, I don't know why meat eaters want their animals to look and take the shape of a cucumber, for example, or a slice of butternut, for example, because
or a pineapple ring.
Or a pineapple ring, correct. So the point is, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's about familiarity, and it's about tradition, and we all have comfort foods from when we were growing up. And I'm only now starting to meet people who've been vegan from birth, because that was never a thing. We all found our way as we got older. And the point is that we all start out loving animals. I mean, you take 50,000 photographs of little children, and they want to kiss and cuddle animals and birds.
Cuss those who kill them.
Well, that's when they grow up and they become an activist. But I mean, you just walk through any store and look at all the children's clothing, and they've got cute and cuddly little animals all over
Peppa
them.
Pig.
Peppa Pig is a perfect example. And yet our parents teach us, and it's not their fault because that's what they were taught. And somewhere along the line, somebody will break the mold and is starting to do that.
Like now?
Yeah. And then we teach them that we have farm animals and we eat them. But children don't make the connection between a nugget and the bird that they went to play with at the petting zoo. You know, and the hypocrisy is astounding, but we don't see it. We go to the aquarium at the waterfront. Well, I don't, but I mean, people go to the aquarium at the waterfront. They go into the restaurant, they have fish and chips, and nobody sees anything weird about that. And that is just bizarre. And I also realized I was there. Okay. But I mean, way back in my 20s, I think, I wrote to Raymond Ackerman and told him about what happened to frogs, because they were selling tin frogs' legs from France. And he immediately took it off the shelves. And that'll be my abiding memory of a wonderful
Amazing.
man.
He passed away this year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Last year.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's quite weird, because you asked like what veganism has done to me. In my own way, I've always been active. I recently was in contact with an old school chum who's been overseas since she left school. And she said, I'm so pleased to see you finally doing what you were always meant to. Because apparently, and I don't remember all the incidents, I was always rescuing snakes from being pickled and taking them home and then getting bitten, and then the snake died.
By your own snake?
Yeah, and then the snake died. It was like a family joke for years. I was so traumatized by that because I basically killed him. Not intentionally.
Yes.
He dropped from my finger. Sorry, I have to just clarify. He dropped from my finger, and apparently if snakes bruise, he might have actually broken his spine. He was dead the next morning. But I have always been this way.
Yes.
It's not.
Yeah, I've also the how I became vegan was I went to shower one morning, and I saw a little like a caterpillar
Yes.
in the shower, and if I put the water on the caterpillar, would have like died. And I was naked. I like to say kalgat. I was
Yeah.
kalgat, and it was winter. And I looked at this caterpillar, and I was like, something just said this thing. At the time, it was a thing. I said this
Yeah.
thing. It became more than a thing,
Yes.
because I took it and I went outside. I put it on a plant. I promise you, Tony, I looked at it, and it looked up at me, and it just like stared at me for like 10 seconds. And it's the first time I've ever stared into the eyes of a caterpillar. I don't know if it was staring at me, but it was in my direction. And then it looked down and it started
Yes.
eating.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, how beautiful is that? And since then, I kind of transitioned. You know, I think I went pescatarian, but that a little bit of awakening takes you down the path. And
Yes.
what I see with most people, it's gradual. And when it's gradual and it's done consciously, it's very few go back.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, when I speak to vegans as well, I say like, will you ever go back? And it's like, it's not even a thing.
No.
It's done.
No, because it's a heart thing. It's not a head thing. So you're living the way we're meant to. We start out the right way and we get sidetracked. So we're just going back to where we were meant to be, you know.
Tell us, let's go back to Beauty Without Cruelty, because this is the organization that we are now going to take forward. It's 2024. I've come on board. I'm so happy. I first want to thank you and the team for allowing me this lovely opportunity. I would have done it
we're very
anyway.
excited.
I would have done it anyway. And I'm excited. I'm excited to bring more people on board. I'm happy that it's a local organization and not an international one. And we have done work together, myself and you. We've done the McLaren Circus. We've done fireworks. We've done some markets. What's the market in the CTICC?
Yes.
The vegan
No, the Plant Powered Show.
Plant Powered
Yeah.
Show. Holla to the Plant Powered Show.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And please come and see this man, because he will be there this year again.
Yes, very excited about that. And now we are, I think it's the time, because people are, Veganuary is very popular.
Yes.
There's amazing plant-based options at all your stores. There's vegan cheese, there's vegan yogurt, there's vegan milk, there's vegan meats. I think, it's much easier for me and
So
this
much
generation.
easier.
Yeah?
So much easier.
Yeah. How was it your time?
When I was a vegetarian in my late teens, early 20s.
Nothing. It's at
And
restaurants
there was
and things.
nothing. No. And in fact, I recall contacting a major, I'm not going to mention their name, one of these sort of burger places, and saying, will you not put something on for
For you.
because if I can't come, then the family doesn't come and the friends
Amazing.
don't come. And they said, no, don't be ridiculous. Now they've got several options on their menu, because times have changed. They've become aware of the fact that it affects their bottom line. And that is the thing. So when we go out as a group, and do there like a dozen of us, if there's nothing on the menu for me, then we don't go.
Amazing.
They might go on their own, but we as a crowd do not go, which is quite something, because they've also been conscientized, as you.
I didn't even say conscient. I said consciousized, conscientized,
They've been made aware. They have become aware of options.
Yes. Yes. What's your favorite vegan food? Because I see you also stir up some amazing dishes.
It depends on my mood. It depends on the day.
So sometimes you also want to have something liquor, because a lot of people, they think when they go vegan they can't eat liquor anymore. But I see your things. I mean, we have pies, and we have different bowls, and we have anything that you can have in meat. There's a vegan option, and I promise you it tastes much better. And besides that, I think something we never discussed is it's healthy. This is healthier food.
Oh, absolutely.
There's less inflammation. There's less.
Even if it's so-called junk food, it's still healthier than the original version.
Yes.
I think probably one of the most exciting things for me was I was always saying, well, I'll buy the hot dog vorsies, because like a zucchini on a bun really doesn't do it. I love zucchini, by the way. But carrot hot dogs
Sounds weird, eh?
No, they're
Even to me,
amazing.
they're amazing.
They are amazing. And I've given them to people.
Texture and everything.
Sausage rolls, texture slightly different as it would be, but the smokiness is there, and you've got a good bite to it, and the whole. And I've done them as sausage rolls and as hot dogs and all the rest of it.
Amazing.
And people go, oh, but it's so good, but it's carrot. It's not a hot dog. Because they're getting the sensation. The brain is saying hot dog flavors, but the eyes are saying no, plant.
Yes.
So that's probably my favorite discovery. But what has been really nice to see is that I started making blue cheese and camembert, my term for it, and sort of just friends and family. And that's now like huge on the market, and it's so nice to be able to just walk into a store and go and pick up a blue cheese or a smoky cheese or a camembert style. And the same holds true with a biltong. And I was making my own yogurt, but now I don't have to do that anymore. Although there's nothing nicer than homemade yogurt, and you know what? It's so easy, because you literally take a chili top, the little of a chili, and you put that in your milk of choice overnight, and hey presso. Whatever's in the chili, there's a slight hint of flavour.
Yes.
So
amazing.
Anything you can do, I can do plant-based.
Toni, by the way, has a book that she published, and it's a cookbook, a recipe book, and there are amazing recipes in there. If you'd like to buy the book and support Beauty Without Cruelty, then please let us know in the comment section below. It's only 89 Rand. Let me know. I might even come deliver it to you. Might even get personal assistance. The recipes are tasty, delicious. We also are going to be doing the vegan goods market with Beauty Without Cruelty. Yeah. The vegan goods market is every Sunday, the first Sunday of the month. So please come and check us out at the events that we're going to be at. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So we're very trendy, and I'm on that as the new social media guy.
And Twitter.
Look at you, X. It's called X now.
Don't go
it's
there.
Elon's fault.
Don't go there. Twitter. Yeah.
Yes. Some successes, some Beauty Without Cruelty successes over the years, just so people know what the organization has done, for this movement.
We've actually just had a bill in Parliament to ban animal testing on cosmetics, and sadly the government of the day last year decided that it was undesirable, even though it won't have any impact on jobs. But the fact that it had 4 portfolio hearings apparently is already absolutely amazing for a private member's bill. It's never happened before. That it got to the stage where it was going to, before national government, it was quite an achievement.
It's a victory.
In terms, it is a victory in its own right. And while we were understandably disappointed, when the new government takes over later this year, we will start again.
Amazing.
But we've rescued cats from Robben Island who were going to be all killed, and they were all feral, so we couldn't let them. They were truly wild, but we had a safe space for them for a number of years until they died off one by one of age related issues. We have been successful in terms of our outreach and education at schools, where children have become a lot more aware of things, because we also teach children about domestic animals and how to care for them, for example. And you've caught me off guard there. Give me time and I'll find them. Because our successes have been small but sustainable. So, every year there are things that we do that we manage to accomplish. So, for example, we managed to get the peacocks that were at Clovelly Golf Club and a number of other estates to be able to live there happily without them all being killed off because new people moved into the neighborhood and were moaning.
Yes.
Well, the people who've been living there for years never had a problem. It's always the new people who want to cause nonsense. So we've been successful there. We've managed to stop a couple of hunts from taking place, where churches in particular have offered hunting prizes for church fundraisers. I mean, the mind is just blown. And we stopped a bird shoot in upcountry, Rubik Castile or Rubik West or something.
Amazing.
A year or so ago. So we've had those sorts of successes. We've been able to get little old ladies to keep their dog at their block of flats because all of a sudden somebody saw the little dog going to the vet and complained, but the dog was always inside because it was a tiny dog. And we got all the necessary information about building projects and what homeowners can and cannot do, and they cannot reasonably withhold you from having an animal at your place of residence. And so that's a small thing. But we've also helped other organisations, for example, with feral cat feeding programs, where a company wants to, or a business, or a big industrial area wants to get rid of all the cats, and we've gone in and we have explained why the cats should remain there, and what the benefit is to them for the cats remaining there. And feeding programs have been instituted, so that has helped. So those are the little things that.
Thank you so much, Toni, for all the work that you do. Thank you so much to the Beauty Without Cruelty team. If anyone at home would like to get involved, would like to volunteer, please reach out to us. You can reach out to us in the comment section below.
If anybody would like to volunteer, or they're a bit more interested in what we do and how we do it, please contact Chad or I and let us know. We would love to be able to come to your school, or your kid's school, or your cousin's school, or your neighbour's school, because we do age-appropriate outreach and education, which is great fun, and that's really important because it always starts with the younger generations. That's why we have Chad. And
with my long beard.
And we're also always looking for people to, for example, manning a table at a mall, or to assist with us at markets. So, for example, we often go to the Pause a While, which is an adoption market that's often held in Sea Point, but also goes around town, or at the vegan goods market, where you can come and assist Chad and again learn more about what we do and how we do it, because you'll learn on the job. And we would love to have you. The more the merrier. And we also need funding. So please, this is a quickie. For those of you who shop at Woolworths, please add us as a beneficiary on your existing card, because you can have up to 4 beneficiaries, or go and sign up on the website for the Woolworths website and choose Beauty Without Cruelty. It won't cost you a cent, but every time you shop there, even if it's for a bag of potatoes and you swipe your card, we will get a couple of cents out of that, and it all adds up, and it helps us to continue doing what we do, because we are not funded by anybody other than the kindness of people like you.
If you are at Woolies and on some of the products you see the little bunny, most people say the little bunny, that is the Beauty Without Cruelty logo. So
That's
please,
the logo.
That's the logo.
The
Oh wow,
bunny.
it's a tattoo.
Yes, that's the
you.
logo. There are
Yes.
plenty of bunnies out there, but not all bunnies are equal, and that's
Okay.
important to know.
Yeah. So please also support the businesses who has that logo on their products. We can only do it with collaboration. We can only do it together. And then for volunteering, please reach out. We can always fit you in somewhere based on your skill set. And also, if you are a business that would like to get onto the Humane Guide, please get hold of us. And last but not least, I just want to encourage everyone to continue to share posts and content that promotes this lifestyle, that promotes fairness, that promotes animal rights, and join us on this journey to self-discovery, but also other discovery. We are all earthlings, and I think it's very important that we all play our role, especially the vegans. That was episode number 4 of the ChadYogi Podcast with Toni V. Brockoven. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment in the comment section. Let us know what you thought about the podcast. Ciao for now.